Hi all and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you 3 of my go-to exercises for golf using one of these, a kettlebell. Now, whether you're someone who prefers to train with kettlebells at a gym, or maybe you prefer to train from home and you've got a few different kettlebells lying around, these 3 exercises are going to be really beneficial for you and your golf game. So let's dive in. So our first exercise is our kettlebell around the worlds. Now, I'm going to do this exercise from the tall kneeling position. That is my preferred position for the exercise, but if it's uncomfortable for you, you can do the exercise from standing as well. So, going to get into a good tall kneeling position. So, knees are under hips, under shoulders. So I almost need to feel like I push my hips through a little bit. Not excessively, because I don't want to come into this extended position, but I'm going to get nice and tall, push the hips under, so tuck the hips under. You might get a little bit of a stretch through the quads at the front here. And as you move, you're going to try your best to keep that position. So we don't want to be sinking back and we don't want to be kind of tilting side to side as we move. So we want to try and keep in that starting posture as best as you can. So good tall kneeling position. I'm going to take the kettlebell in one hand. I'm going to work it behind the back, grab it with the other hand, and then bring it back round in front and swap over. So I'm making circular motions with the kettlebell, swapping hands in front and behind. Now, obviously, safety first here. So make sure that you grab the kettlebell. We don't want to drop the kettlebell. So really make sure you've got this motion first before you start to make bigger circles. So increasing the diameter of the circle and then picking the pace up. So moving the kettlebell faster, but without compromising this. So we want to make sure that we're still staying in that stacked tall kneeling or standing, if you're doing it from standing. So we're not losing the integrity of that starting posture. Now, once you've done about 10 circles one way, you're going to reverse direction. And again, I like to start small, build up the coordination, build up the timing, then we can start to work into some bigger circles and some faster circles. Now, that exercise may look fairly innocuous, but there's a lot of good stuff going on there. We're going to really work into some shoulder mobility. So if you're someone that spends a lot of time behind a desk, for example, probably going to be a little bit stiff through that shoulder area, not going to be very helpful for your golf game. So a great exercise for shoulder mobility, but you're also going to really be challenging the core here. So as the kettlebell is moving around, we're being pulled one way, pulled the other way. So our core is working really hard to resist that motion. So like I say, 10 circles one way, 10 circles the other way, building in range and building in speed, and that's our kettlebell around the world. So our second exercise is our kettlebell plank drag. So this is going to take your traditional plank and really turn things up a little bit. So to do the movement, I'm going to start in a good high plank position. So wrists are stacked under my shoulders and I'm nice and flat through the back here. So I don't want to be into this extended position here. Glutes are engaged. You can feel your core working, nice flat back. From here, I'm going to push down hard into the floor through this right arm, reach under, and then drag the kettlebell under my body. Place my left hand down, and then repeat. So I'm reaching under with my right hand, and then dragging the kettlebell through. So, as you do this, what you really want to feel is that you're driving into the floor with that planted arm. That's going to be huge for some shoulder stability. So really squishing down with the planted arm and then dragging the kettlebell through. The other thing that we really want to be aware of is not losing the integrity of our plank position. So, as I'm in this position, what I don't want to do is start twisting, start dragging like this, slipping into extension. So I really want to make sure that nothing else is really moving, and I'm dragging the kettlebell through, and I'm really working hard through the body, but particularly through the core, the glutes, to minimize any compensations. So quite a simple exercise, but you really need to make sure that you do it properly to get maximum benefits from it. And what we'd look to do is 5 drags in one direction, 5 drags in the other direction. So 10 quality reps, really staying as stable as you can. And that's our kettlebell plank drag. So our final exercise is our kettlebell lateral swing. Now this is a great exercise to improve our core stability, really challenge hip stability and loading into the glute, and then also working on kind of stability through the foot and ankle complex as well. So lots of benefits for you and your golf game. So to do the exercise, I'm going to come into a split stance. So I'm going to have my right foot forward, and then I'm going to have my left foot just back on the tiptoes. So if you imagine a pair of scales, I'm going to have kind of 75–80% of my pressure down into this front foot, so into my right foot. A little bit of softness in the knee, and then I'm going to hinge over at the hips and grab the kettlebell. So from here, I'm actually in a very similar kind of starting posture through the hips and trunk to my golf swing. So take a double overhand grip on the kettlebell, really ground down into this front leg, and I'm going to swing the kettlebell about a foot to the right. I'm going to hold, and then I'm going to swing it about a foot to the left and hold. So I'm almost making a little kind of chipping motion with the kettlebell, stopping at my end range each time. And I'm really working hard here through foot, ankle, hip, and core to keep me nice and stable. So what you will feel as you do this, as you swing the kettlebell, you'll kind of feel like you want to lose that stability. So you might have to start really small here, maybe quite a light kettlebell. You might even have to use a little bit more pressure through the back foot. So maybe rather than 80-20, you could go 60-40. Give yourself a little bit more support. Start with a little bit less range of motion, maybe a little bit of a lighter kettlebell. So you won't need a really heavy kettlebell for this one anyway. I'm using a 12 here. That's about as high as I'd go with anyone. Normally I start people at around a 4 or a 6 on this exercise. It's quite a difficult exercise. So you really want to ground down into this front leg, swing the kettlebell about a foot to the right. So I don't want the kettlebell coming up here. It should never get above hip height. Nice small motion to the right and pause, small motion to the left and pause. And you're really going to feel your entire body working hard here to stabilize you, particularly through foot and ankle, hip and core. What we do, about 5 swings one way, 5 swings the other way on one side, and then we'd swap over, and that's our kettlebell lateral swing. And there we have it. 3 simple moves, yet 3 moves that are providing a lot of bang for your buck, particularly when it comes to the stability side of things. Give them a go. Let me know in the comments how you get on. And if you found this video helpful, then please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button.